Quebec is the French-speaking heart of Canada, where some want to go it alone. But these days, separation seems a remote prospect.
So the province is looking to its food as a way of expressing its independent spirit. Hello and welcome to the Travel Show with me, Krista Larwood, coming this week from the Canadian province of Quebec. Later on, I'm off in search of an animal we've all heard of, but that very few of us have actually clapped eyes on. I see it. Oh my goodness.
Meet my cute little friend Appbot.
Also this week, our focus is on gadgets as Tommy unfolds all the latest travel tech.
First though, it's fair to say that this place has something of a split personality. Campaigns for the French-speaking province to separate from the rest of Canada have been rumbling on for years. But the last referendum was 20 years ago and there seems little appetite for it now. So the Quebecois are looking for new ways to express their independent spirit.
Montreal, the biggest city in the mainly French-speaking province of Quebec. It's a foodie's paradise. Montreal has the highest number of restaurants per capita in the whole of Canada, and the second most in North America after New York City.
Woo!
But here at the Old Port, expensive fine dining is on the back burner.
Perhaps the ultimate expression of Quebecois pride in homegrown food is this festival devoted solely to cheesy chips with gravy.
"30,000 people were expected to pass through these gates this weekend, with one thing in mind, a portion of poutine.
What is poutine?
Poutine is a mix of fries, curd cheese and sauce. Whatever sauce you want to put on.
And what does the word poutine mean? Where does it come from?
It came from a small village between Montreal and Quebec where they were producing curd cheese, and someone put the cheese over fries and the kid says it's not that good and they put sauce over it. And when it came to Montreal, people say, what is that poutine? And the name stayed for poutine.
So what is that mess?
Yeah, what is that mess?
So we're going to have a taste.
Yes.
So get a bit of everything.
Yep.
All right. It's surprisingly good because it looks a bit disgusting. But
Yes.
when you taste it, it's delicious.
Poutine.
Poutine, it's a mess.
Yes.
A delicious mess.
It's proper blue-collar food with limitless variations. And some reckon that if Quebec were a nation, then poutine should be its national dish. But then, question marks have hung over Quebec's identity for some time now, and nobody's more aware of that than this comedian. Sugar Sammy has performed one-man bilingual shows on Montreal's world-famous comedy circuit.
Shawinigan, c'est où les rêves vont pour mourir.
But that collision of cultures doesn't always go down well.
So you do your shows in both English and French. This has proved quite controversial, hasn't it?
The initial response was there were people who were very excited and there were people who were equally not excited about that. There was just backlash because of just a comedy show in two languages.
Okay, relax.
I think that was a big controversial thing. I did get a death threat. Yeah, it was pretty intense. And I created more material out of it, so it's great. I created a lot of material out of the hate mail that I get.
Sammy gets hate mail chiefly because he's a federalist. He wants Quebec to remain part of Canada, and he's not alone. In last year's regional election, the separatist party, the Parti Québécois, suffered its heaviest ever defeat. So it's come up with a kind of compromise, one that might even appeal to us visitors. Food sovereignty is basically a push to make sure local institutions, including restaurants, are serving food grown in Quebec. The aim is to increase the availability of local options by 50%. Music to the ears of some chefs who've been on board with this for years.
That's a loin of venison. It's a venison from Quebec. And this farm is the animal live in the forest like a real deer.
Normand Leprise was one of 10 granted permission to serve local wild game in his restaurants.
Now you take the pepper and you have to put pepper in the meat.
Okay. How much?
You know.
How much?
Perfect. Not too much, yeah.
That project's currently on hold. This venison is the closest he'll get to that for now, but if and when it all goes ahead, it could bring some very new flavours to the table.
I think squirrel and the beaver are good for stock. You can do a beautiful stock and braise stuff with that.
So what do squirrels taste like from the woods?
But the real squirrel, the white squirrel, it tastes like, a little bit, sometimes some animal can taste a bit woods because it eat a lot, it bite after the tree, and you can find sometimes this little flavor. But for me, we have to cook it like we cook rabbit or like we cook quail. It's the same, it's a very delicate meat to cook. And for me, that's the best time to cook.
So all this venison needs now is a quick sizzle in the pan. But there's one fairly insurmountable problem.
I think all the pilots are closed.
Hey! Oh, Gus, what about our venison steak?
No, I think it's closed.
It looks like maintenance on the gas pipes has scuppered my chance for a taste of that prime cut of local game. My last stop on this food trail takes me a couple of hours outside Montreal.
Well, this place is pretty quiet. There's not much here. But when it comes to food, the little town of Laurierville is one of the most important places in Quebec, perhaps even Canada.
I'm here to try out Quebec's most famous food export. This is the Global Strategic Maple Syrup Reserve. About 70% of the world's supply passes through its hands, and it's all kept under very tight security.
Okay, do I need to get dressed?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I probably don't need a beard guard.
Maybe not. Wow.
Stylish?
Maple syrup is a high-value food. Basically, one barrel of 600 pounds worth about 1,800 Canadian dollars. So it's 30 times the price of crude oil. So basically, even if it's difficult to steal and put one of those barrels in the trunk of your car, it's not impossible. So that's why we put on a lot of security to make sure that nobody's, except the one who paid for it, can have access to the reserve.
Okay, let's give this a try then. Okay. Cheers.
The reserve is run by a cartel of producers to ensure a year-round even supply.
Oh, très bon. Very nice.
The tree sap is only harvested for a brief period every spring. Seasonality in Quebec's rollercoaster climate is a problem. But producers take note. If maple syrup can manage to find its way into our bellies all year round, then there's hope for almost anything.
And if you're thinking of taking a trip to Quebec anytime soon, here's some information you might find useful.
Around the beginning of the year, this place is literally freezing, but that doesn't stop Quebec City hosting one of its biggest celebrations, the Carnaval du Québec. In fact, the weather is one of the Winter Festival's main attractions, with the city really coming to life. There are loads of outdoor spectacles like an illuminated ice palace and an ice sculpture contest. The 2-week event begins next year on January 29th. If you want something a little different, how about snowshoeing? You can hire the footwear quite easily and get off the beaten track in no time, from frozen lakes to pine forests. Head to one of the province's parks, like the Parc National de Jacques-Cartier or a cross-country ski centre between December and February to give it a go. But if you really want to get away from it all, head north. Nunavik is one of the most uninhabited places on Earth and is in Quebec's Arctic region. Travel around the area is not easy and the weather can be difficult, so if you're heading on an adventure there, take advice first and consider going with one of the tour operators who serve the area. And if you want to get close to nature, Quebec can be a great place for a spot of whale watching. Up to 13 species are found in St. Lawrence Estuary, and if you want to combine that with a once-in-a-lifetime road trip, beautiful Côte-Nord in the east of the province even has a whale route that you can drive in just under a week. Time now for our travel update. Dramatic bushfires have been affecting parts of southern Australia after its hottest ever start to October. The states of Victoria and South Australia were the worst hit. The fires haven't caused any damage to tourist or residential areas just yet, but if you're heading there, be prepared for difficult conditions. It's now possible to book a ticket between the capitals of the US and Cuba. It's another milestone for Americans eager to visit the communist state, as diplomatic relations continue to thaw. However, it's still officially forbidden for a US citizen to visit Cuba on tourism grounds. The charter flight will take passengers from Washington, D.C. to Havana in about 3 hours. And while Team USA turned up with the best tashes, it was largely the Austrians who arrived with the finest overall beards at this year's World Beard and Mustache Championships. In all, 20 countries took part near Salzburg in Austria. There were 18 categories, each more eccentric than the last, from Best Hungarian Mustache to Best Freestyle Whiskers. But the title of titles, Best Fashion Beard, was taken this year by a German.
Coming up on The Travel Show.
I'm deep in the forest, using all of my tracking skills to sniff out Canada's national beast.
Must be quiet.
Hi there, let's kick things off with something to get you moving. This is the mini fold-up bike, and the makers claim that it's just like the car, but in a two-wheel form. But what's different about it? Well, it's got this 8-speed gear shift system as well as 18-inch wheels, which makes it really agile and makes it pretty fast too. As well as that, it's got this neon-coated Teflon chain, which protects it against soiling and therefore makes it more durable. And the makers, BMW, claim that this is the first time that an iconic car brand has been turned into a bike. The aluminium frame, which is semi-lightweight, actually weighs in at 10 kilograms, which some people might struggle with, especially if you're dragging it around on public transport before taking to the road. Still, it's a lot easier than taking a 5-door Mini through a park in London. Right, time to put this one away. So you've been cycling around a park all day on a really hot sunny afternoon. Just go with me on this one. And you want to cool down and your phone is running out of battery. What do you need? You need a fan that can also charge your phone, obviously. The all-day rechargeable fan has 3 speed settings, low, medium and high. But not only does the fan cool you down, it can also simultaneously charge up your phone or MP3 player. It's a bit plastic for my liking and a bit bulky, and it's not the neatest of devices, but hey, looks aren't everything. It does the job and is handy if you're hot and bothered and on a low battery. It happens all the time. You go for a picnic and people have left their plastic cups lying around. I hate plastic cups lying around. They make me mad. I'd rather eat it. Don't worry, I'm not crazy. These cups are edible. Lollyware are edible drinking cups. They're certainly unique and they come in a range of different flavours and colours. They're a bit small for my liking and they taste very much like a fruity licorice. It's made entirely of vegan, biodegradable ingredients that the makers claim are a delicious alternative to disposable cups which are just destined for the bin. It can hold hot drinks as well as cold drinks, and if you like licorice, then you will love these. But for me, after one bite, I was done. I mean, I don't even think I could eat a whole cup. So whoever's left these behind, better come back and eat them. Meet my cute little friend Appbot. The makers claim it's the first ever robot that can see, sense, snap pictures and even record footage from anywhere around the world. It's operated via an app and Wi-Fi, so you could be anywhere in the world and know exactly what's going on at home. The Appbot is slightly tricky to set up. You need an app and a phone that has Wi-Fi to operate this outside. Once set up, it allows the user to send commands from all over the world. It also takes pictures, so as small as this device is, even if a would-be burglar smashes it to pieces while you're away, their picture would already have been posted to your phone. Anyway, I do hope my travel gadget bonanza has been helpful. I'm off home now, so I'll see you next time.
These are the Great Falls at the Parc du Chute Montmorency, a stone's throw from the centre of Quebec City.
Very impressive. Fall in Niagara Falls. Now, this whole region is really popular with leaf peepers, these guys who come in search of the most amazing colours but arrive with the coming of the autumn. Now, I'm too early. I've missed the season by just a couple of weeks, but not to worry because I'm here to meet one of Canada's most famous and elusive residents.
Quebec's moose are thriving. Populations here have doubled in the past 10 years. But they're still famously shy. So to maximise my chances of an encounter, I'll need a guide. One completely in tune with his environment.
You must be Pierre.
Yes, I am.
Lovely to meet you. What an amazing song. You really sounded like a wolf.
Thanks.
I'm thoroughly impressed. Although the wolves don't carry guitars usually, I guess.
My friend called me Peter the Wolf. Moose tracks, yes. And I don't know if you see.
Pierre takes tourists around the Forêt Montmorency, the world's biggest research forest. As ever, sunrise and sunset are the best times for spotting. In fact, he reckons I'll have an 80% chance.
This is a mark that a big male with a big antler just made. On the moose safari, we are trying to find the moose. We are trying to approach them with all the ancestral technique, with the wind and the noise. And we are also doing moose, different call to attract them. Sometimes we are very lucky.
So with the moose calls that you made, could you explain the noises? What do they say? Oh.
You're good. The female noise look like this. And the male, they're short but deep, kind of rot that look like. It's very deep because moose are big. They are the biggest member of the deer family.
Pierre takes me off deep into the woods, chasing the very faint calls he can hear in the distance. He's not above smearing himself in a moose bath, which is basically a collection of unpleasant substances the animal has left behind. The going is heavy. I have a tough time in the boggy ground. My cameraman finds it even tougher.
No.
Complete silence is needed at all times. The slightest rustle or misplaced footstep and all your work could be undone.
Must be quiet.
But after a couple of hours with 2 soaking wet feet and daylight disappearing, we admit defeat, get back in the car and head for home. When suddenly...
I see it. Oh my goodness. Huge antlers on that one. Yeah.
Oh.
Tell you what, the boys are out tonight. Look at that.
there they were, distant, but definitely there.
It's incredible.
Aww. Aww.
And off Pierre went, chasing the moose into the sunset.
Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's show. Coming up next week...
Where are you from?
Japan!
Rajan heads off on a journey to the heart of Japan, meeting the extroverts and risk takers, the people living life close to the edge.
So now we can see Kagoshima right in front of us. See really how close it is to this volcano.
He'll have to learn to expect the unexpected.
It's hot. I'm sweating.
So do catch the show then if you can. And in the meantime, don't forget you can join us while we're out on our travels in real time by signing up to our social media feeds. Details are on the screen now. But for now, from me, Crystal Larwood, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Quebec, it's goodbye.